this is my private.
All right, welcome back. You're watching The World Today, and now we're joined by Count Federico Sangridarghi. I hope I'm pronouncing your name in the correct way. I'm sorry for that.
Yes, I am the Count Federico of Wardal, Safir min Nagl al-Salam, sorry, in Arabic, Ambassador for Peace, and United Nations Association San Francisco International Relations.
Well, perfect, because that is going to help us a lot within our focus for today's edition. We're speaking today about, although there is the Indonesian tsunami and several other natural crises and climate change crisis, but though this fact, issues of war and peace are dominating the international press today. So, for example, the American Times says, will the Palestinian take their case to the United Nations? That's one, from one angle. They also says Afghan militias, the perils of trying to duplicate Iraq. And the Washington Post says EU rules let Iran import, export oil, and creating possible split from US policy. So it seems there is a lot of scattered issues all around the region. And let's start first by your comment on the this topic, the lost peace.
So I have to make some short introduction about my humble actions for peace during all my life. I was born, and I am an international artist of theater, and my last theater is and was about human rights, so is related with peace. Also, as His Excellency Mrs. Barbara Lee, the Congresswoman, I was against the war in Iraq. Means only Mrs. Barbara Lee, the American Congresswoman, was against the war of Iraq. And me, at that time, I was in Baghdad and I took medicines to help the children in the hospitals. And
so you lived this experience?
Yes, exactly, directly. And from Rome, because at that time I was in Rome, now I am proud to live in Cairo and Egypt, and also in the same time U.S.A. San Francisco. And so all the time we try to make dialogues with authorities of different countries. For example, I have to mention now an important message of His Excellency Boutros Ghali that he gave kindly to me to give in occasion of the 65th anniversary of the foundation of United Nations in San Francisco, that was now a few days ago, from the 22nd until 24th of October.
So looking at this great track record and being involved in all of these issues, I'd like to share with you something today about the Obama administration. As you know, the U.S. administration was really involved heavily in the Middle East peace process and in the talks that was going on. Lately, we had this phase of the indirect negotiations, and then it led into, after several efforts from the U.S. and a lot of efforts from EU, and Egypt was exerting also the most possible support to have this direct negotiation move on. And living this experience of having the illegal Israeli settlement activities in East Jerusalem and West Bank, and that was a key issue that everybody was expecting, and most political analysts was expecting. It may stall the peace process, but today everything is back into place. There's no negotiations. The talks are over, and this is one key element for the Obama administration for Middle East peace process. So how would you comment on that?
So my action in U.S.A. now means a few months ago by UN, we made advocacy, we met a lot of American authorities, and we spoke about the topics of United Nations like climate change and of course peace. And also about the President Obama, I was in charge 2 years ago in Italy, to speak in Assisi about the speech that the President Obama had in Cairo University, because Italy also...
yes, but sir, I just want to have your comment on this topic, because this is what's we're trying to focus more on the topic of the New York Times. As it says, like I mentioned, Obama said to offer a strict nuclear deal to Iran. So I was saying, let's begin with the Middle East. As I mentioned, I gave you the introduction of the Middle East peace process and the stalling. The Obama administration likes to imagine its Middle East process is in a holding pattern, if I may say, until after the midterm election. So I'd like to have your opinion about the negotiations between the Israelis and the Palestinians in the current situation today that we're living in.
Okay. I have to repeat all the time is need efforts from our side to improve the dialogue all the time between countries. And so we spoke about now about U.S.A., about
yes, Israel and the
Palestine.
Yes.
So means what I said before about Assisi, the town where St. Francis was born in Italy. I commented the speech of President Obama in Cairo University, but also I means our action is to inform so important authorities directly or indirectly about our knowledge concerning Arabic countries, because I am in Egypt for 15 years ago, and also I am Italian, but also I have some Egyptian roots. So,
yes. Speaking about the UN Security Council, since you come from this background, amid the frustration, the existing frustration from the Palestinian side, the leaders, the Palestinian leaders, and also the Arab League are now thinking of considering going to the UN Security Council and trying to have a Palestinian state. How do you see this action, and is it their right to act so?
Means about the Palestinian state, of course, is great, of course, is okay, of course, they must have...
So you're with the action of going to the UN Security Council and standing for a Palestinian
I think
state?
all the people like, including me, the Palestinian state. This is
why would they have to reach out for the UN Security Council? Why isn't it the opposite? Why isn't the UN Security Council is looking for this matter and is pushing forward for a Palestinian state instead of having it come from the Palestinian side?
Means you can
yes, I can
sure.
I can elaborate more. The Palestinians are moving ahead for the UN Security Council to have a Palestinian state. Why isn't the UN Security Council reaching out for the Palestinians to resolve this issue?
We will try to give our support concerning anyway the Palestinian state, because it's a right for Palestinian people to have their own state. So we insist all the time, directly and indirectly, to reach this wonderful aim. You know, for independence, for freedom, and of course they must have their own state.
Rights, yes. Right, moving on, as for Iran, the EU rules let Iran export oil, creating possible split from U.S. policy. Do you think EU seeks alternatives to avoid tensions that may lead to a war with Tehran?
Of course, we hope no. And inside our group of UN in California, we have the participation of some Iranian citizens. So we are directly in touch with that Iranian citizen that are part of United Nations too.
Yes.
So also in this way we can try to solve some conflicts and to give some solutions for a better world.
Yes,
or to improve the, and so we are...
So that's a good point. What would, in your opinion, what would be the alternatives to avoid such tensions between the EU and Iran and between the United States and Iran?
You know, the matter in the world, I think the financial world situation is important, but as I said all the time to
what
some
you're hinting
people,
is that
is not exist only the financial situation. The financial situation is only a part of the world. Exists the love and exists the understanding to the people and toward cultures, okay? So otherwise will be not possible to negotiate and to do anything. So the money are important, but really are not the main thing in the world. This is my humble opinion.
Yes, but I admire your statement mentioning that the global financial crisis and the financial situation may have an indirect or a direct cause for what is happening around.
So it's not a matter of Iran, it's a matter of the world and the concept. Of course, the disparities of conditions means financial condition too can create conflicts, okay? And as I said, to support that is need a dialogue, a love and understanding. Means if some country is in difficulties as financial situation, it need help. And so it's not so complicated to give help. And this also is an appeal towards the people too, the civil society
does
too.
Love,
that is
does support
important. Yes. Because this is a so strong force, the love. And for example, I know that Egypt is so cosmopolitan, and the cosmopolitanism means love for all the people, and for this reason the role of Egypt, that is very important for peace, is well appreciated from the world, I think. This I hear the news, I hear the opinion about the Egyptian politic that is very welcome from, I can see, from the world. So Egypt, not because I am in Egypt now, and I love Egypt anyway, but Egypt and the Egyptian peace politic could be an example for all the world.
Right, moving on for Afghanistan, and analysts predict further widespread, unfortunately further widespread conflicts. Do you expect it is going to be inclining towards the worst, or is it going to be resolved somehow?
So, I think the time to make action about this topic is short, and I think in 2 months some action to help this situation must be done. So it needs really some action, because this situation become too much also dangerous. So I need in a few months, maybe in 2 months, not more than 3 months, some effort for agreement, for solution. This is urgent.
Right, Count Federico Sanghirardi, thank you very much for joining us as the Ambassador of Peace and talking about the Lost Peace today in our edition of Fall Today. It was a pleasure talking to you tonight.
Thank you very much. Me too.
And with this, we come to the end of this edition of Fall Today. Thanks for watching. Have a pleasant night. Goodbye.